And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Ryan Metzler.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan Metzler here, and today we're looking at a game from Serlin Games. We're going to take a look at Yomi, the complete first edition, which is a box very heavy with a bunch of cards in it, and is one that you're going to be using sort of a rock, paper, scissors mechanic through the play of cards in order to try and beat your opponent, reducing them from their maximum hit points all the way down to the minimum before they can do the same to you. Now, there's going to be a little bit more than the rock, paper, scissors mechanic, but this game includes a ton of cards, a ton of different decks, and they can also double as playing cards. So why don't we take a look at what all comes inside that box. I'll give you an overview of how it plays real quickly, and then we'll come back here and I'll give you my opinion. So first things first, here's what's inside the box for Yomi. You can see there are 10 decks of cards. There is a playmat inside the box, and then I have another one underneath to show you here. And then there are some markers which are going to be used for taking or keeping track of your life throughout the game. So that's just how the box comes packaged. There's 10 decks of cards, there's the two mats, and then there's the markers. But why don't we take a look at what the decks consist of? So here you can kind of see two of the characters that are included. So each deck's going to have a character, and then they're going to have a deck of cards. But here you can see two characters. So you have Argagarg here, who is a water shaman, and he has statistics. He's going to be weak on the attack, a little bit stronger on throw. He's very strong on block, and he's going to be medium on dodge. And additionally, each character is going to have a special ability. I'm not really going to go into those, but you can use them throughout the game in order to kind of better your own position. Finally, each character is going to have a number of hit points, so he has 85, and you can mark that on the play mats that come with them in order to keep track of how close you are to losing the game, because when you get to 0, you have lost. Similarly, we have the Lum, the gambling panda here, and he has a stronger attack, he's a little bit weaker in throw, he's very good in dodge, and he's kind of mediocre in block. Additionally, I forgot to cover combo points. Each character is going to have a maximum number of combo points. In this case, it is 4 for Lum, which is going to maximize or limit the maximum number of cards that they can play in a combo on their turn. And he starts with a little more life and has a more random kind of ability when he takes his turn and you decide to use it. Now, aside from that, the game is going to be essentially a rock, paper, scissors mechanic. And you're going to see there are going to be throw cards, block, and dodge cards, and attack cards. Attack is actually the weakest because it only beats throw. Throw is the strongest because it beats dodge and block, and then block and dodge both beat attack. Now if there's a tie, it goes to speed, and I'll show you that on cards, but you're going to follow a very specific turn order. At the beginning of your turn, you're going to draw a card, but you're going to have a handful of cards. So at the beginning of your turn, you're going to draw a card, and then you're going to go into what's called the combat phase. And each player from their hand of cards is going to pick one card to throw down onto the table face down. So they could pick like a king, which is an attack card if you look very closely. Or they could choose a throw like this 8 here, or a different attack. Or you have dodges and attacks on the same card. So you could play this card this way as a dodge, or this way as an attack. So each player is going to choose one. So let's say this player chooses that card, and this player chooses this one. And we flip them over. And so we have this player who played this way. It is a dodge. And we have this player who also played a dodge. Well, nothing would happen in this case. But let's say this player had played this as an attack. So now we have one player with an attack and the other player with a dodge. So if we look at our reference card, the attack would be avoided by the dodge. And so when you look here, it says dodge. When you avoid an attack or joker, you may hit back with any single attack throw. So they could take an attack card and now they could hit back. And so there's going to be some back and forth play between trying to hit guys or to prevent yourself from getting hit by using cards in your hand. Now let's say both players had played an attack card. Let me find one here. Both players had played an attack card, and they had equal speed. In this case, they're both a speed of 3. These would neutralize, but if one of them had a higher speed, the lower speed would take precedence, the faster card, and that one would go off. So this one would allow them to do a certain amount of damage to the other player, and it would be 3 damage. And additionally, it's going to allow them to combo. And you can see here, this is worth 1 combo point. And if this was our guy, Argagarg here, he has a maximum of 3 combo. And it says what he can combo into. So he can either play a 4, basically creating a run of cards, or he can link to a linker or an ender, which are just special types of cards which have written on them linker or ender. For example, the flying fish here is an ender card worth 1 combo point and does 7 damage. I actually showed you the wrong thing for speed. Speed is this number right here in the yellow, so this has a speed of 2.4. And on those 2 cards I showed you earlier, the 2 3s, the speeds were written in the things here, but they were still equal. It's a 3.4 and a 3.4. So essentially you're going to each turn play cards like that. You're going to be able to combo if the card tells you that you can combo. And then if you are the loser on a turn, you're actually going to be able to use special cards from your hand to maybe bluff your opponent into not doing a combo. And those are joker cards. Now, joker cards allow you to, on your turn, you can take a card from your hand once you're being hit, so you've lost the combat, play this face down, and essentially what it's going to do is it's going to be a bluff. And if your opponent plays more cards onto their combo, so they've added more cards to their damage, you can put this face down, and they're essentially gambling that you don't have a joker down here, so you could have played something else. And when you flip this over, if it is a joker, you're going to avoid all of the extra combo damage that they've played on you. But if it's not a joker, you're going to take it. So essentially you're going to either make them lose cards and not take damage, or you're going to be bluffing, you're going to lose a card, and you're going to take damage. At the end of combat, you're going to take all of these cards and discard them, and you're going to start a new round of combat. Now, however, before you do that, you're going to be able to play a power-up phase, and this is going to allow you to discard cards from your hand. So, for example, you could discard a pair. So we could discard a pair of 2s, for example, and it's going to let you go get aces from your deck. Now, the reason you'd want to get aces from your deck is because they have special powers on them. So, for example, this one's called Blackjack, and it has a huge, long description. But know that these are better than your average cards, and they allow you to do something special. They can either be, in this case, a dodge, or again, you can reverse them for for an attack card, which is a combo. And the more aces you play, the better combo is going to be. So you could get potentially 10 damage plus another 12 damage for playing this card properly. After this, you're going to basically... if you played a combo, you can get more aces, so there's all kinds of ways to get aces into your hand. But after that, you're going to go back to the beginning of the turn, you're going to draw a card, and you're going to go through another combat phase. At the end of the game, or the game will end, when one player has managed to reduce the other player all the way to 0 health, which can be shown, again, on your marker here, so you would be using these markers to keep track of your health. When one player is at 0, the game is going to end, and the other player is going to be the winner. And that's Yomi. Now, the game is pretty simplistic, I have to admit. You're really just kind of picking a card at random, well, not even at random, you're picking a card that you think your opponent's not going to be able to defend against. And you're going to flip it over. And whoever has the better card, whoever's better at guessing at what the other player is going to do, or bluffing at what they are going to do, is going to win the game. Now, that may not always fall to skill. As a matter of fact, most of the time it's probably going to fall to luck. And so for that reason, this isn't really my type of game, but I do see the appeal to it. The theme is great. You have these fantasy fighters that are, facing off against each other, and I think that there's a group of people that will love the game just for that theme. In addition, that simplicity, although not my thing, is probably going to appeal to a large audience out there. So if you're going to be a fan of a simplistic game that does have some strategy to it, but also relies on that luck aspect, making it more of a fun experience than a deep thinking experience, you'll probably really love Yomi. So with all that said, I have to say that Yomi is a pretty good game. It's not a great game. It's not one that I'll probably be playing a lot, but one that I think has a large audience out there in the board game community.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.